Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jim Sciutto in today for Jake Tapper. And in our world lead, Russia intensifying its attack against ISIS. Within the last 36 hours, Russia says it completed nearly 60 combat missions, killing, they claim, more than 300 ISIS militants. CNN was given exclusive access behind the scenes of Russia's war machine inside Syria, the staging areas from where many of those deadly missions are launched. Let's now bring in senior international correspondent Matthew Chance. Matthew, really incredible access, what you got to see there. You know, the Russians claim to be much more active than the Americans, much more aggressive than the coalition in striking ISIS. Did you see evidence of that at the base there?
Yeah, well, they're saying they're being much more effective at the very least because they give this example, and I spoke to a senior Russian military commander here in Latakia in western Syria just yesterday about this. He was saying, look, in 2 years, for the past 2 years, the territory controlled by ISIS and by other Islamist groups in Syria has expanded by dozens of times. That's what he said. In just 3 months since the Russians have been engaged in their airstrikes here, conducting over 4,000 airstrikes they've carried out since they began. That territory controlled by ISIS and other rebel groups, they say, has shrunk. And so it shows that, this is what they say, it shows that they're being much more effective, much more targeted, using the Syrian army as well to back them up and to take advantage of the airstrikes that they're carrying out with their warplanes. And so essentially much more effective than the US-led coalition.
Now, you're aware that it's the U.S. position that Russia's more interested in protecting Assad than striking ISIS, and in effect striking all rebel groups that threaten the Assad regime. I saw that you asked the Russian commander there what they're focusing on. Did he give you a hard answer?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the Russians are never going to admit that they're here predominantly to support Assad, to make sure that their interests here in Syria, their military assets, their economic ties are protected, and to make sure that their ally, Bashar al-Assad, doesn't crumble and other rebel groups, ISIS amongst them, takes over. But, I mean, in effect, that's what they're doing. What they say, though, is that, look, we're targeting ISIS, we're targeting illegal rebel groups, terrorists, we're striking at their oil installations so they can't get money to buy more weapons. You know, that's the line being pushed by the Kremlin. You know, and to a large extent, or to a certain extent, they are doing that. They are striking at ISIS, but they're also striking at these other rebel groups that pose the biggest threat to Bashar al-Assad's rule. The Russians want Assad to stay in power. They see that as the key to stability in Syria, rightly or wrongly.